Imagine holding two Rolex watches in your hands with the same weight, shine and dial. Yet one costs the price of a car and the other costs a fraction of that. Welcome to the world of Rolex superclones, where luxury and illusion meet. Now before we dive into the superclone Rolex watches, let's have a look at what superclone really is. Well, a superclone isn't your typical cheap watch with a ticking quartz movement and a weak bracelet. Superclones are high-end replica watches made to copy the original Rolex models in astonishing detail, from weight and case dimensions to movement architecture and dial finishing. These watches aim to replicate not just the look, but the feel and mechanical presence of the real thing. Manufacturers of superclones study genuine Rolex references obsessively. They measure case thickness down to fractions of a millimeter. They replicate ceramic bezels with near identical color tones. They copy engravings inside the rehaut. They match lume's brightness. Some even attempt to clone Rolex's in-house calibers visually, including rotor engravings and bridge layouts, so that even the case-back inspection won't immediately give them away. And while they're not genuine pieces from Rolex, the level of engineering behind these replicas has dramatically evolved in the last decade. Certain factories have built reputations for producing what the replica community calls one-to-one super clones, watches that, at a glance and even under moderate scrutiny, can pass for the real deal. Now, let's break down the most popular Rolex models recreated as super clones, the ones dominating the market. The first and foremost clone on our list is none other than a Rolex Daytona, which is the king of hype and the grail of modern chronographs, and it's perhaps the most obsessively cloned Rolex in existence. The superclone version of the Daytona focuses heavily on the modern ceramic references, especially the legendary Panda and the ultra-flashy rainbow variations of the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona. The Panda, with its crisp white dial and black ceramic bezel, is one of the most recognizable watches, and you can buy it for just $1,000. That's why they spend enormous effort perfecting dial spacing, sub-dial proportions, and bezel front alignment. High-end Daytona superclones attempt to replicate the weight by using 904L stainless steel instead of cheaper 316L steel found in lower-tier replicas. The ceramic bezel is color-matched to mimic Rolex's proprietary Cerachrom finish. Even the tachymeter's font depth is carefully studied. Where things get really intense is inside the case. Premium superclones use modified automatic chronograph movement that visually resemble Rolex's caliber 4130. The bridge shapes are copied, the roto engravings are etched. Some versions even position screws and jewels to mirror the genuine layouts when inspected. Chronograph pushers screw down smoothly. The bracelet has solid end links. The clasp features replicated glide lock or oyster lock mechanisms with laser-etched coronets. The lume on the hour markers glows with a brightness designed to mirror chroma light. In short, the Daytona superclone is designed to impress from every angle through wrist presence, mechanical action, and visual authenticity. But while the Daytona rules the racetrack, there's another Rolex that rocks the market, and the replica world may love it even more. Number 2 on the list is a Rolex that dominates both the authentic and superclone market, and it's the Submariner. The superclone version of the Rolex Submariner is arguably the most refined and widely produced replica in existence. It has 3 versions: the Hulk, the Kermit, and the classic black dial. These versions are constantly re-engineered by replica factories to stay up to date with Rolex's design tweaks. Case proportions are adjusted to match the supercase dimensions. Crown guards are reshaped to achieve the exact curvature. High-quality superclones use ceramic inserts that mimic Rolex's fade-resistant Cerachrom bezels. The green on the Hulk is carefully matched, not too dark, not too lime, but that signature emerald tone collectors recognize instantly. Weight matters, and superclone Submariners often come surprisingly close to the genuine article due to the use of 904L steel and solid link bracelets. The glide lock clasp is replicated so precisely that it slides and locks in a way that feels convincingly authentic. Inside, some top-tier factories attempt to clone the visual layout of Rolex's caliber 3235. While it's not a genuine in-house movement, the architecture is styled to look the part. The sweeping seconds hand glides smoothly at 28,800 beats per hour, giving the illusion of Rolex's signature motion. Under normal lighting conditions, distinguishing a superclone Submariner from a genuine one becomes incredibly difficult. And if you think this level of detail is crazy, wait until you see which Rolex model is cloned so perfectly, and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now, after mastering the dive watch replication, superclone makers step into the world of multi-time zone mechanics. That's where the jet-set icon enters, the Rolex GMT-Master II. In the superclone world, this model is a bestseller, especially the Pepsi and Batman colorways. The red and blue Pepsi bezel is one of the hardest things to replicate correctly. Rolex has used proprietary ceramic blending techniques to achieve that seamless color transition. Superclone manufacturers spend enormous effort trying to perfect that hue shift. The Batman is equally popular with its black and blue bezel. Replica factories work meticulously to copy the polished center links of the Jubilee bracelet and the brush finish of the Oyster bracelet variant. Case thickness, lug width, crown positioning, everything is measured against genuine references. With a market price of just $1,200, this Rolex masterpiece is worth the price. The GMT hand color is matched precisely. The date magnification under the Cyclops lens is adjusted to approach the 2.5 times magnification that Rolex is known for. Movement-wise, high-end superclones attempt to replicate the independent GMT hand functionality. While not identical to Rolex's true jumping hour mechanism, advanced replicas simulate dual-time tracking convincingly. Row engravings line up with dial markers. The bezel rotates with a satisfying click. The ceramic surface reflects light in a similar glossy fashion. For many buyers in the replica world, the GMT-Master II offers the perfect blend of sportiness and global sophistication. And that's exactly what superclone makers try to capture. But not every cloning challenge is about bold bezels. Sometimes the hardest watch to replicate is the simplest one. The Rolex Datejust has defined elegance for nearly a century, and it was also recreated so flawlessly that the line between authentic and imitation almost disappears. The Rolex Datejust is one of the most versatile watches ever made, and that makes it a superclone favorite. Unlike sport models, the Datejust elegance lies in subtle details. Fluted bezels, sunburst dials, Jubilee bracelets, Roman numerals, baton markers. There are endless dial combinations, and superclone factories attempt to replicate as many as possible. The fluted bezel is one of the most challenging elements. On genuine Rolex models, it's crafted with razor-sharp ridges that catch light dramatically. High-tier superclones attempt to machine these ridges with similar depth and reflectivity. With a market price of just $850, dial finishing becomes critical. Sunburst patterns must radiate evenly. Applied hour markers must sit perfectly aligned. The date window must center precisely, and the Cyclops magnification must look authentic. Bracelets are often a highlight in Datejust superclones. The Jubilee bracelet, with its intricate 5-piece link design, is replicated with surprising flexibility and polished contrast. Inside, replica factories style the movement to resemble Rolex's automatic calibers. The rotor is engraved. The plates are shaped to mimic genuine layouts. Because the Datejust is less flashy than sport models, it can sometimes be even harder to identify as a superclone in casual settings, which is exactly why it remains so popular. While the Datejust blends into daily life, the next superclone forces clone makers to simulate power itself. Known as the President, the Rolex Day Date has long been associated with world leaders, executives, and icons of influence. Superclone factories focus heavily on gold tone and rose gold versions because that's where visual impact matters most. Replicating the weight of a solid gold Rolex is nearly impossible, but high-end superclones compensate with dense materials and carefully plated finishes. The fluted bezel is machined to reflect light in a similar dramatic fashion. The President bracelet with its semicircular 3-piece links is recreated with solid construction and hidden clasp detailing. With a market price of only $1,000, the day display at 12 o'clock is one of its most defining features. Superclones carefully replicate font styles and spacing. The date wheel alignment is adjusted to mirror authentic positioning. Dial textures with champagne, olive green, and ice blue colors are matched to achieve the correct tone under lighting. Even the shine of the applied Rolex coronet is studied and duplicated. Inside, some superclones visually replicate Rolex's modern calibers with decorated bridges and engraved rotors. While not genuine in-house movements, they aim to mirror the aesthetic. The Day Date superclone isn't just about copying a watch, it's about replicating a symbol of authority. And that's it. From Daytona to Submariner to GMT-Master II to the refined Datejust and the Day Date. Every one of these Rolex icons has been copied in the superclone world with surprising attention to detail. Now, if you found this video helpful, then stay tuned to us because our next video is about the watch collection of Hollywood superstar Keanu Reeves. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. See you there.